in Melbourne in Australia, and this is my regular Sunday Facebook Live session. My card today is a really easy card. It's one of those ones which is going to take very little time for you to do because you're letting the designer series paper do all the hard work for you. Now, I've got new stuff, which means that I have to play with it. I can't resist, and I know that it's not available for you yet, but it's another week and a half-ish, and you'll be able to buy it. So I figure I'm doing you a favor by showing you what you want to put onto your order. Let me show you the card, then I'll show you the papers, and then we'll get on to making it. So this is our card. Like I said to you, it's a really easy card. But look at that beautiful designer series paper, and it opens up like that. Oops, got something there and something else there. Okay, so you've got that paper that's creating the scene for you, and it's doing all the hard work. This is a really quick card. Now, I'm not 100% happy with this one. This was the first one that I made, so I'm just changing up the way that we're making it slightly. And as I'm going through, I'll tell you what I did here because you may be able to work it better than I can and see and stick straight, but I'm changing that up. So let me show you the paper because, like I said to you, new paper. It's called Splendid Autumn, so it's kind of similar but very different to that beautiful All About Autumn paper that we had last year. Let's just have a quick flip through the paper. So we've got some of these autumn trees and leaves, but then we also have some lovely flowers, and some of those are a bit more, not quite autumn, but just the scenes. Okay, so like I say, these are beautiful. And the reverse sides of the paper are all just plain colours but with your mottled look, so they coordinate really well with the front. Okay, now this one, because of the colours, I'm going to say is a bit more feminine, so when I used this one for my little flowers here, I used the Sentimental Park stamp set. For today's card, I'm going to use this sheet of paper, so we're going to make it slightly more masculine, although no reason why you couldn't give that to a lady friend as well. And I'm going to use the Layering Leaves stamp set. Now, this has become one of my favorite stamp sets because I love those sentiments. And these leaves are cute as well. They coordinate with, I think it's called the Layering Leaves Punch, but absolutely beautiful. And like I said, this is probably the easiest card you've made in a long time. So I'm starting with my card base. If you want to, you can score it. I'm not scoring. I find it easier to just fold. Alright, so we're going to fold it in half. Give it a good press with the bone folder. And then fold it back on itself. Alright, so it's your completely basic Z fold card. Sorry, it doesn't matter what I do, there's always either a hair or a dimensional backing haunting me. It's like my hair falls out like crazy, and we all know about dimensional backings where they land up anywhere they like. Alright, now I did actually cut my piece of DSP and then thought I shouldn't have done that. I should have cut it for you on camera, but let's talk it through. So you're going to take your piece of DSP, cut it down to your 14.4 or 5 1/4 inches. So decide whether you want more of the top or more of the bottom. I cut off at the bottom, and then you're just going to cut, just make sure that you're cutting sort of one after the other, that it's going to keep the directionality. 4.7 centimeters or 1 7/8 inches, and we're cutting 3 strips of that. So we're landing up with 3 strips, and because this paper is a scene and follows each other. Just make sure that you're keeping it in its picture. Okay, we don't want to lose that picture. Now I'm just going to stick my first piece. I did make sure that glue was coming out. Try again. Alright, so my first piece is going onto my first flap. Okay. My second piece is going next to it. So when it's folded, this piece is the one that's on the inside over there. Okay. Right, and then let's just see if that looks like it's sort of straight. Now let me tell you what I did, and then I'll tell you what I'm changing it to. So for this one, my piece of white cardstock here was another piece exactly the same size as that designer series paper. So that was your 4.7 by 14.4 centimeters, or 1 7/8 by 5 1/4 inches. And I just stuck this piece down and then stuck that in between. Now, I'm not happy with that because I don't think that I stuck it very straight. So I'm changing it a little bit, and what I'm doing is I've got my normal card insert, so 14.4 by 10 centimeters, 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And what I'm doing is I'm taking my last piece of DSP and I'm going to stick it right along the edge of that piece. Now, so that's now going to maybe put it on the one where it actually follows. That's going to sit there, okay? And then I've cut a piece of my copper clay cardstock slightly wider than what I would normally use. I'd normally use a 1/2 centimeter. This is 0.7 centimeters. Now, inches, you're just going to have to see what looks okay. Dimensional backing, we would normally use 1/4 of an inch, but here you might want to just go 3/8. And I'll show you the reason for that. Just sticking that directly next to that DSP. So when I was just holding it down, I was finding that when it was stuck down, when it was closed, if that strip wasn't just that fraction longer, I was actually having a little bit of white peeping through when the card was closed. So that's why we've cut it that 2 millimeters bigger. I didn't want to stick that down yet. Okay. What not to do when you're thinking ahead. Alright. So now, because I put glue on, I'm going to stick it down because otherwise it's going to get too messy. And we're just going to hope like crazy that my bottom pieces are the right size. Okay, so for me, I'm much happier with that because my pieces look like they're more aligned and straighter than they were in that one. I was battling to see that I was getting the gaps between straight, so happy with that. And then I have a 1/2 centimeter piece of my designer series paper and a 1/2 centimeter piece of my copper clay, and I thought that one of them was just, maybe they're okay. I was worried that one was going to be slightly too long, but okay, that looks like it's going to be fine. So ideally stick this on before you stick your card base down, because then if you've got any overhanging edges, it's easier to trim off than trying to do it once your insert's already stuck in. And So this may take slightly longer because we're putting the extra piece of cardstock behind it, but for me that just works much easier and I'm much happier that everything's lined up. And then when we close it, it's going to close like this. So we need to give it a good press with the bone folder, and you know, if you've got time, you can always just put it underneath something heavy overnight so that those folds press firmly down. Now let's deal with our sentiment. So I've already stamped my best wishes and I've cut that out with the Something Fancy dies. Now I'm going to just, sorry, dirty piece of paper, we're going to stamp some of these leaves, and this is one of those times where I haven't actually done it, so I'm hoping that it's going to turn out the way that I'm picturing it in my head. So I want to just start off with my basic beige and stamp some over there. Okay, I want this to be quite pale, so that's why maybe we won't stamp those upside down, we'll stamp them right way up, but I can get a much bigger bit there. I obviously didn't cut that very well in the middle, but that's okay. And then I'm going to take the more open leaf and with the copper clay again, just stamp that, and I just want this to be slightly paler than my sentiment. There we go. Now of course the stamp does have the fill in, but I didn't actually want my leaves filled in, I wanted the two separate ones. And it looks like I've got ink everywhere, but alright, I will hide it with some bling. Alright, now when we're sticking this on, I'm putting dimensionals. Now just bear in mind where your dimensionals are going. So we're going to stick them, it's this side that's going down, so dimensionals, don't stick them on the wrong side. And I want another one just to give it a good hold, but don't stick that one too far over because you don't want it overhanging and sticking your card closed. Alright, so we're gonna, now this is where it becomes a bit difficult because we want the sentiment, but you don't want to hide too much of the paper, and I think that that should be okay. It's just fractionally over, but I don't think that there's enough that it's actually going to catch. And then I'm going to just put some of these, because even if it is a more masculine type card, it can always use some bling. Alright, so there you go. Like I said, the easiest card ever and really quick. Here, see, I'm much happier with this one, the way it's lined up. But when you open up your card, you've got that lovely scene inside it. So ordering for the new mini catalogue goes live on the 4th of September, and I'm pretty sure that this designer series paper is going to be a firm favourite with everybody. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you again next week. Until then, have a good week. Bye for now.